In this video, you're going to be learning how to sew this beautiful crop top, and let's get into it, guys. I'm making use of this white Mikado fabric, and for every part of the front piece we are going to be cutting 2 pieces each, and for the back piece we are going to be needing 2 pieces. That's for the lining and the main fabric. Don't forget, my fabric is folded into 2 already, so I'm just going to use my pin to hold the papers in place so that I can cut easily. After pinning it down, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting it, and while cutting it I'm going to be leaving ½ inch at every side of the paper. This video is a continuation of the cutting tutorial I posted last week, so if you haven't watched it, go ahead and do so for better understanding of this video. Like I said earlier, we are going to be needing 2 pieces for every part of the front piece. So I'm done cutting the first piece for the 2 parts. Then I will fold my material into 2 again and cut the second piece for the 2 parts of this front piece and start cutting. So after cutting out the front piece, we move to the cutting of the back piece. I will fold the material into 2 again. Then I'm going to bring the back piece and place it on the material. Like I said earlier, I'll be needing 2 pieces for the back piece. That is one for the main material and one for the lining. So I'm just going to pin it down to keep it in place and start cutting it out. And don't forget to leave ½ inch at every side of the material while cutting. After cutting the first piece, I'm going to go ahead and cut the second piece for the back. That's in total, if opening the zipper allowance, 4 pieces. So we'll move to the cutting of the straps. For each of the straps, I'm going to be making it 2 inches wide. I'm going to be cutting this particular material into 2, and the length 8½ for the length of the strap. So I'm going to cut this material into 2. That's to make it 2 pieces for both right and left. So each strap is going to be 2 inches wide, and for the length 8½ inches. You can make use of 8 inches or 7 inches for the length of your straps. That will do too. So let's move to the sewing of this crop top. As you can see, I labeled the 2 parts of the front piece 1 and 2. So we're going to be joining 1 and 2 materials together, both the main fabric and the lining. So I'm going to separate it from the papers, and I'm going to be joining it together just like this. So you can go ahead and pin yours down, but you're going to start your sewing from the center to the other side. Then you can now start from the center again to the other side. So just watch the way I'm sewing it on my machine. I started from the center, and I'm just going to sew to the other edge. After sewing one side, I'm just going to use my scissors to notch the center. Then I'm going to take it back to my machine and sew the other side, starting from the center. After sewing this piece, I'm going to go ahead and sew the other piece, and now we have 2 pieces for the front. Go ahead and give it a good press using your iron. Then for the sewing of the back piece, I'll go ahead and remove the paper. And like I said earlier, after opening the zipper edge, we're going to have 4 pieces for the back. That's 2 for the lining and 2 for the main material. So I will impute my zipper allowance on the material for both the lining and the main material. Then I'm going to sew that particular zipper allowance line using loose stitch, because I'm going to be losing it later. So I'm going to use loose stitch on my machine to sew on it. After sewing on it, this is how it's looking like, both for the lining and the main piece. This is how it's looking like. So for the main material, I'm going to place 1 piece of the back and also 1 piece of the front, right side facing each other. Then pin it down to keep it in place. After pinning it down, I'll just go ahead and trim out the excess by the side, and I'm going to do the same thing also for the lining. And this is how it's looking like. This is for the lining and the main material. So for both lining and the main material, I'm going to impute my body measurement, my bust and my waist measurement. Then I'm going to sew it side by side. After sewing it at the sides, this is how it's looking like. And I've sewn the side for both the main material and the lining. So this is the main material and the lining. After that, I'm going to open up the zipper allowance. Remember, I made a loose stitch on it, so I'm just going to use my hand to open it up. Then I'm going to bring the other part, which is the lining. I'm also going to open up the zipper allowance. After opening it up, I'm going to keep it aside. Then we'll move to the sewing of the straps. The straps is 2 inches wide, so I'm just going to fold it into two and sew the side. So we're going to have 1 inch left. So after I've sewn the straps, this is how it's looking like. I'm just going to use my pin to turn it to the right side, just like this. After turning the straps out, this is what we have. I'm going to bring back the main material of the crop top. Then from the center of the top, I'm going to mark 3.5 inches. From the center to both left and right. I'll be putting my straps in those parts where I highlighted with my chalk. After imputing the straps at the front, we move to imputing it at the back. So I'm just going to measure from my zipper allowance there, that 1 inch line. I'm going to measure 3.5 or so and use my chalk to mark it. Then it's at that point I'm going to input my straps, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So after I'm done imputing the straps, I'm just going to go ahead and bring the lining and place it directly on the main material, right side facing each other. So I'm just going to be sewing 1/2 inch round. I won't be closing the center back. I'm going to be leaving the center back, so the zipper allowance open. I will sew 1/2 inch round, leaving the center back open. So let's go ahead and sew. After sewing, this is how it's looking like. I've gone ahead to sew round by 1/2 inch, and I said earlier that we're going to be leaving the center back open, and this is the center back open. That is where we're going to be imputing our zip. Then use my scissors to notch everywhere around that we have sewn. After notching round, I'm going to turn the crop top to the right side. After turning it out, give it a good press using your iron. Then impute your zip on that 1 inch allowance. After imputing your zip, that is all for this tutorial. Thank you so much guys for watching. Like, comment, and this is the outcome of the crop top. This is how it's looking like, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you in my next one. Love you. Bye.